Hey, what's going on, guys? Dignal here. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make the sort of book intro that you have just seen on screen. Now, before we get into the video, I'd just like to remind you guys to please do hit that like and that subscribe button if you do end up enjoying the video. It really does help me out, and you can also unsubscribe at any time. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the effects. And just go ahead and make my webcam a bit smaller here. And this is what we currently have to work with. If I just go ahead and pre-render this, essentially, we just have a sort of gap here at the start, and then our sort of edit actually starts. So this gap should be around 4 seconds and 30 frames long, so 4.5 seconds, and it should just really start with a beat shake here. And just go ahead and set that up. If you already have an edit that is, underway, you can just go ahead and drag that up and drag the music backwards. So it shouldn't really be an issue at all. Now, the first thing you guys need to do is head into the description and download the sort of book animation that is down there. Now, obviously, I haven't made it. It's just something I took from YouTube. So credit to the original owner there. I'm just going to bring it up on my screen right here. So right here, essentially, we have it. Let me just go ahead and delete the other tracks here. But yeah, so let me just go ahead and mute the edit and the music. And essentially, what you'll get is just this very long sort of thing here. So really what you want to do is just go here and go to the second variant, and just go sort of right here where you can just sort of get an overview of the book. You cut it there, and then you just scroll up until you see this sort of empty thing. Now go ahead and cut it when it transitions away from this, which will be right here. And now what you want to do is just fully delete the audio track. Essentially, you don't really need it. And just go to here when it actually stops animating, which is just sort of roughly here. Just right click and freeze frame a cursor. Then what you need to do is you extend this by sort of like that. I guess you sort of want that roughly like a fourth of the video to be frozen, and then you just hold control and you drag it back to fit inside this area. And now if we play this back, it should be relatively smooth, I guess. I mean, it doesn't have to be too smooth, but it definitely shouldn't be slow, really. And it should be just like that. Now, what you're going to want to do is just make a new video track, Control-Shift-Q. Press U on this first clip that you have. Hold Control, drag that up. Go ahead and drag this back by 1 frame, just like that. Go ahead and delete all of the effects that is on this, just like that. And go ahead and right click and click on Freeze Frame at Cursor. Now, it couldn't mess up like that, and there's just a cut in there, so just go ahead and remove velocity altogether and then freeze it again. And now what you need to do is just go up here to when you have the initial sort of the initial freeze thing. Just drag it like that. You can't drag the left side because that'll fuck up the frame. So just make sure you do what I just did there. And now if you just go ahead and play this back, it should just cut back to that, and there should be a smooth transition here. Now, once again, if you don't have beat shake presets, or if you don't have impact presets, there will be some free ones in the description. Obviously, I'm actually gonna start updating that, so just make sure to get those right now. And probably for the next tutorial that I will have added some newer, updated impacts to that folder. But yeah, for now, what we're gonna want to do is just press on our cropping thing right there. Just drag this out and just sort of match it onto this paper slip, sort of. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, of course, but it should still be relatively alright. Now, once you've done that, just go ahead and go into your video effects tab and search for drop shadow. Just go ahead and drag the default onto the track. Just go ahead and set the Shift X and Shift Y to 0. And just go ahead and make sure that it sort of looks somewhat natural. Just sort of like that. And now what you're going to want to do is just, oh shit, yeah, just make sure that you didn't fuck up the cropping like I did. That would be very, very bad. Now what you want to do is just fade that in by like 30 frames. Just go ahead and go into your transitions tab, search for gradient wipe, go down into the presets and drag nebulous onto the fade in, and go ahead and set the threshold blend to 0.5. Now once you've done that, it should be relatively smooth. I'm pretty sure I added the wrong thing. That sucks. Yeah, so make sure you add nebulous right there and just drag that on, and it should just sort of, have like a misty, wispy, whatever the fuck, a feel to it, which is quite nice. And now, once you're done with that, you're gonna actually want to pre-render it, or just render it out completely. So I'm just gonna go ahead and file, render as. After I've selected the first sort of area right here, I'm gonna do as book tutorial, whatever, and then just render it out. And I'm gonna see you guys when it's done. Alright, now the render is done. I'm going to go ahead and make a new video track by pressing Ctrl-Shift-Q, and we're just going to drag this onto that video track. I'm going to go ahead and delete this audio because we do not really need it. And once you've made sure that everything looks decent on this top one, we're just going to go ahead and delete the 2 bottom tracks as well because we do not need those anymore. Now, you can start adding some finer details. You can go into your video effects tab, for example, and just add some lens blur. I'm gonna just go ahead and do that real quick. I would just sort of fade, just sort of keyframe it like that. Just go to where the sort of animation stops. Just drag that in, and now we have this sort of wispy feel to it. I would also go ahead and add some shake to this, as it can get a bit dull when there's nothing really happening. So you can just go ahead and copy my settings for this. It doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna do that, and just make sure that the shake isn't too aggressive. But now that we have this fade and done, what we're going to do is just go into our video effects tab and search for blur mo curves. Now, this is the part that's a bit tricky to do on Vegas because it's a bit hard to make this look at all decent. So what you're going to do is just go to where the sort of fade in stops, which is just sort of here, and you're going to go and keyframe the Z distance and add a keyframe. Now just go to where you can fully see the sort of video right here. And open up the center anchor point and drag this into the middle of the freeze frame right here. And just go ahead and go to the last frame right here, and or the second to last frame rather, and go ahead and change the Z distance so that the video is completely zoomed in. Now, if you do end up fucking up the anchor point, you can change that at any time. Just go ahead and do it afterwards, really. But make sure that the Z distance isn't too fully distorted. It needs to fully cover the video, but it can't go too far in because it ends up looking weird if you do. But now you should have something that looks like this if I just go ahead and pre-render it really quick right here. So let's see. Alright, now obviously that looks like shit. So we need to set this to slow. And if it ends up looking really bad, you can always go ahead and go into split manual. So let me see. Yeah, just like that. It looks like shit. So what we now want to do is just select both of these by pressing Control, right click, split manual, go into curves, and now we just have to fuck around here really. For the preview, I'll probably have spent a lot of time on this, because the preview needs to be good, otherwise people won't click on the video. But you just need to play around with this essentially until it actually looks alright. Vegas is shit. It is fully awful. I would actually almost recommend importing your video just straight into After Effects just for this, because it is so bad, and it is absolutely so difficult to get this right. But let's see how it looks here. Yeah, see, it doesn't look great at all. But, you know, just play around with it, really. There's no exact, values I can give you, really, because it is just so horrible in Vegas. It is absolutely awful. Maybe we can do that. It's just so hard. Maybe that? I don't... That is awful. Whatever. Honestly, just play around with it, and if you don't feel like doing that, just set the first keyframe to slow fade, and that's just gonna have to do, really. But I would, if you know how to use After Effects, I would definitely recommend just importing the intro into After Effects just to make that animation, because it is so hard to do in Vegas. And we just have to do that. Now, if you want to add some text up here as well, you can do that, but I would recommend importing it to After Effects for that as well. If you want to do that in Vegas, there's not much you can do, really. You just have to do it. If I just go ahead and remove my blur mo curves here, you could add text up here, just here, essentially. If I wanted to add my ident really quick, I can just go ahead and do that. Right here, if I just want to go ahead and add my ident, if I just compress this by a lot, I can go ahead and do that really, because it just, I don't know. Just make sure you do it. Just make sure you do it before you actually pre-render the entire thing, so you can actually zoom in with the add-in as well. Otherwise, it won't really be motion tracked. But yeah, I wouldn't really add my add-in there, to be honest with you guys. It's a bit weird. But yeah, that is essentially the entire tutorial. It just goes to show how shit Vegas is really when it comes to stuff like this. And honestly, I would fully recommend you guys switch to After Effects if you want to make similar intros to this. Pretty much every big editor essentially uses After Effects for this. I don't think there's a single editor besides probably me who can be bothered to do this type of shit in Vegas, because it's just awful. But yeah, that's really it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to down below, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in a couple days, and peace.